In this unit circle survival guide, we're going to find the exact value of sine of negative 2 pi over 3 using the SARC method. So SARC is just an acronym to help you remember the steps. One of the hardest things about finding exact values is that you may just miss a small bit of information. Usually it's not remembering a negative sign, but if you keep everything organized, you'll find that exact values become really easy. So here's a quick breakdown of the steps. S stands for sketch the angle. So we'll sketch the terminal side of our angle. That way we know which quadrant it's in. A helps us think A.S.T.C, which is a nice little acronym in itself to help us know if our final answer should be a positive value or a negative value. The R stands for reference triangle. So we'll find the reference angle and then the special right triangle and coordinates that go with it. And then the C stands for calculate, so we'll calculate the trig ratio that we want. And so we're going to do this for the sine of negative 2 pi over 3. Now as we start, so we're going to sketch the angle first. Notice that our angle is negative. That means we have clockwise rotation. That's all the negative sign means in this circumstance. So we know that we want to go a clockwise rotation of 2 pi over 3. So starting in standard position, initial position here, we would know that a half rotation would be negative pi. So breaking that amount of rotation down into thirds, we'd have approximately here is negative 1/3 pi. And so here is our angle that we want, negative 2/3 pi. Sometimes it helps people to rewrite negative pi as 3 pi over 3, so it has that common denominator. So you just can more easily see those three pieces. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Okay, so again, we have our angle's terminal side sketched. We see it's there in the third quadrant. And now we're ready to move on to step 2. This is where we're going to take care of all considerations of positive and negative values. We'll make one determination to know, is our final answer positive or negative? So to do this, we think A.S.T.C. Remember the phrase, all students take classes. And so starting in quadrant 1, label A.S.T.C. And what this does is it tells you which trig functions, which ratios will be positive in each particular quadrant. So working our way around, they're all positive in quadrant 1. Only sine and its reciprocal cosecant are positive in 2. The other 4 are negative. In quadrant 3, which is the one we care about, only tangent and cotangent are going to be positive. So we can go ahead and make a note. Our final answer is going to be negative, okay, because sine will be negative as a ratio in the third quadrant. And then if you did have an angle with a terminal side in the fourth quadrant, that would be cosine and its reciprocal secant that would be positive. And again, now that we've decided our final answer will be negative, we'll simply be working with our reference angle. So that's what we're about to find in our next step. And we'll just keep the coordinates positive. It eliminates the possibility of sign errors or omissions. We know our final answer is negative, so let's just work with positive values from here on out. Okay, so to find our reference triangle, we first need to know our reference angle. And that's simply the amount of rotation between the angle's terminal side and the x-axis. So what I sketched in orange right there. So to rotate from negative 2 pi over 3 to negative 3 pi over 3, that's just a rotation of pi over 3. So the reference angle is pi over 3, and now we want the special right triangle that goes with that. So remember that pi over 3 is the same thing as 60 degrees. So we're working with our special right triangle that has a central angle of 60 degrees here. So 60, 30, 90 triangle. If you need a quick refresher on your special right triangles and their properties and the coordinates on the unit circle, I'll post a link to a playlist that has videos all about that. So feel free to check that out. All right, so we have our special right triangle. Now we need the coordinates that go with the special right triangle. I like to note that the horizontal leg is the shorter leg here. The vertical leg is the longer leg, and that helps me remember the x-coordinate should be 1/2, and the y-coordinate is the larger coordinate, square root of 3 over 2. And now that we have those coordinates, we're ready for our final step. So the C tells us to calculate. And when we're finding the sine of an angle on the unit circle, it actually isn't even much of a calculation. It's simply going to be the y-coordinate. And so we look at our y-coordinate, so the value is going to be square root of 3 over 2. And remember in step 2, we already decided that should be a negative value because our angle is in the third quadrant, so negative y-coordinates. And we know then that the sine of negative 2 pi over 3 is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2. Hopefully this helped you get a really good method for finding exact values. I will post more worked examples, a link to that in the video description. So check that out, and thanks for watching.